Speaking of the rest of the family, and despite chatter, we understand that Andrew will still probably remain on the sidelines. And while Charles has reached out to Harry, I understand that he's been quite firm with both of them about their involvement in the coronation. What has happened in relation to Andrew?
Well, the backdrop of this, of course, is Andrew's removal from frontline duties. That's been well documented due to his involvement in a sex abuse scandal, which, of course, he had always denied, but led from his exile from royal life. Now, Andrew had been involved in a disagreement with the king about wearing certain robes to the coronation. Of course, the king and the planners to this event sort of wanted him to step aside from public view. And I think it's interesting whether Andrew is trying to reposition himself as still part of this family. We saw him walking pretty much alongside the senior members of the family during the Easter service, and whether he will have a role remains to be seen. Listen, I don't think he will have a role at all, and I think that the king may relent in terms of what outfit he wears on the day, but certainly he won't have any front and centre role due to the fact that he is no longer a senior royal.
And do you think that, I mean, apart from that point about not being a senior royal, do you also think it's as much about perceptions and optics as it is about managing internal expectations?
Definitely. I mean, the royal family is all about optics. I mean, the late Queen's mantra was they must be seen to be believed, certainly that she must be. And I think that the king has got a huge amount on his in tray. I mean, you look at the last couple of years, you've had scandal and infighting in abundance for the family. And now the king certainly isn't going to have anywhere near as much as a run at the top job, if you will, as the Queen did. He's a man of 74 years old. He's got a shorter time to cement his legacy. We've already seen a bit of a stuttering start to his reign, the rows with the family, the very fact that his first state visit to France was cancelled due to issues in the country. So he will really want to sort of try and have a bit of normality, I suppose, and a bit of an opportunity to try and make things work as quickly as he can. And that certainly doesn't involve Andrew. It certainly doesn't involve any rows with Harry. So he's going to appeal for calm unity and togetherness in his first few months in the job.
Now, we know that Meghan isn't coming to the coronation, and it's been reported that she doesn't expect to return to the UK for some time. What's your view on why she isn't attending, and do you think there's any overall impact of that?
Well, there might be an impact on her, I suppose, and her relationship with the family, because had this been an opportunity for reconciliation, I suppose we'll never know, will we? Because it's been said by people close to Harry that this will be a very quick trip, just in and out. We wouldn't expect to see him at some of the other major events. I mean, there's a whole weekend of programming, the big concert at Windsor Castle. Then there's some other community events on the days that follow. So for her, I suppose it was a convenient get out that it's their son Archie's 4th birthday on exactly the same day, May the 6th, that the king is going to be crowned. And so for her decision to step back, I suppose she can say she is doing that as part of her role as a mother, part of her role as a parent, looking after the family, while Harry is kind of doing his duty towards his father. So I don't think we're going to see her within the royal fold anytime soon. I can't imagine that she'll be rushing back to the UK. They didn't get a great reception during the Queen's Platinum Jubilee last year, and I imagine those were some of the concerns on her mind especially.
You know, that's a very good observation. But to me, it also seems a bit incongruous that she doesn't want to come back to the UK and yet she wants her children to be involved in coronation proceedings. Surely one impacts the other.
Well, definitely. I think it's a complete contradiction. Some may find that Harry and Meghan had, I think, through members of their friendly media, had pretty much said that they didn't want titles for their children. And here we are, just a few weeks ago, they have negotiated these prince and princess titles for their children. Now, of course, that they were entitled to those roles, but Harry and Meghan could have decided to go the other way of members of the family. Certainly Princess Anne, the Earl and Countess of Wessex didn't choose those roles for their children. So what does it mean for them? I mean, I think that Harry has said himself that he found or princely titles, those sort of associations with the monarchy, very, very burdensome. So it remains to be seen what role they will have with the royal family. Maybe moving forward that they will have a larger role to play. But certainly for Meghan and Harry, I think that this needs to be a period of calm and try and everybody have a bit of a breathing space, because the last 2 years have been particularly fraught.
And finally, Meghan McCain has hit out at Meghan Markle about her not attending the coronation. The former Meghan says the latter has chickened out. Do you think that's the case, that Meghan doesn't want to put her much discussed lack of popularity to the test?
Well, I'm not sure how Meghan McCain is qualified to sort of comment on the affairs of the royal family. I wasn't aware that she knew Meghan Markle, but I think, listen, it's quite unfair about Meghan Markle, because she was damned if she did, damned if she didn't. And the fact that she's taken this decision to stay at home, no doubt they'll be having a birthday party for Archie. There is her family obviously comes first, and it's one thing to have come out of respect, out of a duty that she may have felt as a member of the royal family, to pay her respects to the late Queen for her funeral, and indeed the Platinum Jubilee, where they did attend. It's another thing entirely to attend the coronation of a new king. So, listen, I think well, the proof will be in the pudding. We'll have to see where the Sussexes go next. If we do see them doing new interviews, if we do see another Netflix series, then I suppose they'll be judged on that. So let's wait and see, I suppose.
But you do make a really good point. The USA, for a country which has a level of contempt for the very notion of the monarchy, God, they're remarkably invested in watching the lead up to the coronation, aren't they?
Well, they are. I mean, I suppose they find it as some form of celebrity, I suppose. And I think the Americans have always seen this, that because they don't have a royal family, it's just sort of the AA list. Whereas we kind of see it very, very differently, don't we? There's a certain reverence to certainly that how the Queen had been on the throne for so long and given her life to duty. And again, I think that's an issue for the king and the rest of the royal family. How do they become a monarchy in a modern world? And I suppose that's the big issue that they have to contend with at the moment.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Look, Russell Myers, that's all we've got time for. Thank you so much for joining me on the show tonight. Until next time.
Thank you. My pleasure.